So today we are with Kosik. Kosik is one of our clients, and we're also with John here as well from Paybotics. And Kosik has an interesting story of basically how the process he used to work with our location finding services, as well as his own process for sales to go and identify potential leads and also close them into the merchant services program so he can make monthly residuals. So that being said, let's go ahead and just start off with Kosik. You want to introduce yourself real quick and just kind of tell maybe a quick 1 minute story of kind of how you got into the business, what appealed to you about the business, and then kind of where you are right now in the business.
So I'm a full-time employee, and then I do my side business as well. We're helping out a friend in construction. My full-time job is construction project manager, and I came across the ATM Together program first. So I did install one of the ATMs. And in the process, I've also learned about the merchant automation, which seemed to be a really great business to start. It's always nice to have another additional revenue stream. So that was just my kind of approach as I enrolled myself into the merchant automation program.
Got it. And then right now you currently have two locations that you have terminals in. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
One garage and the other is a liquor store.
Oh, so what was the first one?
It's a repair garage store.
Okay. So repair garage repair store, and then liquor store. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then where are you based out
of? Massachusetts.
Okay. Very cool. Cool. So do you want to start basically kind of walking me through the process of how these deals came to be? Were they from our book deployment service? How did you reach out to them? Did you call? Did you show up? Did you call John first to get advice? Like, kind of walk me through that process from start to finish.
Sure. So obviously I've never been in sales, so it was very new to me. I did all the trainings that you have on the website, which are very useful, very informative, and very positive. Anybody can do it. Especially John's video, I'm like, anybody can do it. So that was a great help. That was the first step. So as part of the program, obviously, we got the first 5 booked appointments on the program itself, merchant automation. So my first deal came through that. We were at a point where I had 3 leads. I was talking to them, and then we closed on one. It was not the easiest because the owner was super adamant on keeping the rate low, and it being my first ever lead, it was not as easy as, okay, goes from 4 to 3. So I was a little hesitant. Talking to the team, talking to John, talking to Jordan at Paybotics, I learned that it's important to close a deal. Dollars is definitely important, but it's word of mouth and the service. So that helped me understand the process a little bit more. I became a little bit more comfortable understanding the process, understanding the snowball effect starting from here, the first lead ever. So the lead, it was interesting. The owner was definitely interested in bringing his rate down. So we approached him and I closed the deal. When the application went in, the owner actually didn't want to give his social up because it was a corporation and he was not very comfortable. So, and he was a very hard guy to reach. So it took me, I would say, at least 30 to 40 calls. And then when I reached out to the team, because I wasn't getting any response, they said, sometimes it's common. So, you could just walk into the store. So I called the store itself. I checked when the owner would be available. And then I walked in one of these days. Surprisingly, the owner, he was not trying to avoid. It's just him. He doesn't answer anybody's calls. So I met with him. We shook hands. He checked with his accountant. He gave us the social and the account was closed. So it was a big relief. It was a very happy moment. We closed the deal after several back and forths. I would say 3 weeks. It took me 3 weeks. When I first said, I want to go with you, to when it actually went through. So that was the experience.
Did you, so when you got the lead from our location finding team, did you call the owner right away? And that's how you set up an initial appointment, or are you saying that you tried to call, but they never answered, so you just showed up?
So the first call was to the store itself,
Yeah.
because that was the phone number on the piece of paper we got for the lead. So
Yeah.
I spoke with the owner in the store, and then I got the owner's personal number so we can have a close communication about any questions, if when I can stop by and when we can start the application. So it was after that moment.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
so after how did that first conversation? I think our audience would be really, especially first time people that were doing their first deal, they're probably interested in how did that initial first call go with that store owner? Like when you first called that lead, how did it go? What did he ask you? What did you say?
So his biggest thing was, what are you guys offering for rate?
Mm,
And I told him, but sorry, let's take a step back. On the sheet of paper, it clearly said what the owner was looking for,
yeah.
and he said his current rate is 3.5, and he wants to go lower. Three is a more preferable number.
Mm,
So, a great strategy that I learned from talking to John was we'll offer him 3%, but 3% from the customer's perspective, and he can pick up the 0.5%, which
yeah.
was again like a wow moment. Like I didn't even know this could be done, right? It was always like a full transfer to the customer.
Yeah.
So after talking to the owner, he wasn't interested. I was trying to push for 0.25% for the owner, 3% to the customer.
Mm,
Just trying to just after talking to him and understanding his side of the story and what he wants to do, I knew that wouldn't be a good approach because you get the feel when you talk to them, they really want to get to the 3%. So we did that. We got to
mm.
3%. He said, "You have the deal," and
What,
on the
what was
phone
it? What,
call,
what was the final thing that got him over? What was the rate?
3% to the customer and no cost to him.
Okay.
Yeah, and with it was a $50,000 to $60,000 account per month.
Mm,
So and John brought up another great point that we can waive the fees considering the size of the account, like the $15, $25 fees to for the terminal for the internet, and also the $670 fee for him for the service itself, which I
yeah.
was okay. For me, it's about closing the lead and
Yeah.
developing that relationship. So that's
Yeah.
how we. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And then basically after that conversation, you guys kind of went back and forth, and you tried to call him, but he was hard to get hold of, so you pretty much just walked in, and then
Correct.
that's when you closed the deal in person.
Correct. And he was not I had all these things going on in my head. Would he be happy if I just walked in, and
Yeah.
would I piss him off? But like I said, I learned that was not the case. It's just the
Yeah.
kind of he is. He wouldn't answer anybody's calls. So if you just walked in, he shook my hands. He was a happy person. He said, "Listen, we have the go ahead. Here's my social. Let's put the application through." The terminal showed up in a couple days. We installed it and rock and roll.
Nice. Love
Awesome.
it. John, anything you want to add to that first close?
He did a great job. He was pretty knowledgeable, and even though he didn't have a lot of sales experience, but he wasn't shy. The business owners are going to give you pushback, even when you get the lead. It's part of the deal, but you just got to push through that pushback, and then follow through. And he could have gave up, be like, "Man, the guy's not giving me a social. 3 weeks, this is dead." But no, he just kept in there, kept hanging in there, and then finally he got the courage that let me just show up, and boom. And sometimes I tell them, sometimes just show up. Sometimes don't even make that initial call.
Mhm.
You'll learn along the way. The element of surprise is a lot better. To just show up. Be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing?" Boom. If they're busy, they'll say, "Hey, I'm busy right now." I can always say, I was just stopping in. I drive by here every day, just
Yeah.
stopping in. Thought I'd just say hi to you. Boom, start the conversation.
Yeah. It's a different demeanor, right? Versus on the phone, they're trying to get off the phone. And
Yeah,
when you're in person, it's just a little different. They're not going to have that kind
absolutely.
of mentality towards that. So,
Yeah, and
great.
and and Shri has been really good. And then I found out about the next deal he closed, the liquor
Yeah.
store. I'm
Oh my
like, man,
goodness.
this guy's on fire.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Great segue. So Shri, talk through how the second deal came to be.
So before we go to that, something I want to share with everyone who obviously want to generate the second stream of revenue, right? The way that I look at things, and it enforced my thought, was when John said, think of it this way, right? You're spending, let's say, 4 or 8 or even 10 hours closing a deal. Think about the revenue you'll be generating through that for the rest of the period. So even if you say you cannot put a value on the 10 hours. So that actually helped me just push through any of the time that I'm spending thinking about it. So that is a really great way to look at things.
Yeah, exactly. So that's actually a really good point. So John, do you want to expand on that? I think that's really a powerful
Yes.
one.
Yep. So what I tell people is this: look, if I go talk to the owner, I'm going to spend 15, 20 minutes at the max with them. The first visit. The second visit, I'll probably spend 10, 15, 20 minutes with them. The third visit, if it takes me 10, 15 visits and it's all 10, 15 minutes at a time, I'm only spending 2 to 3 hours, talking to the owner, which is going to generate me, if the account brings me $500 a month for 12 months, that's $6,000. If I have that account for 3 years, I made $18,000 for spending, let's just say I spent 10 hours with him. That's $1,800 that I made every hour.
Nothing can beat that, right? Nothing can beat that.
Yeah, nothing can beat that at all. I mean, I tell people, like, you're willing to go in and clock in at somewhere for 8 hours, and you're just going to get a paycheck. And after that, you're not getting, once you clock out, you're not getting paid anymore.
Yeah.
And here, this is why you got to put the time into this and say, okay, let it take a little longer. Don't be so anxious to close the deal right away. Understand you're only spending 15 minutes, and then you're going to come back and spend another 15 minutes.
Yeah, you're making, more than a doctor would. You're making more than a doctor with doing way less work over those 3 years. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So going back to what I was saying there. So Sri, let's talk about the second closed deal you got. So you got a second lead that came from our location finding service, and like how did that kind of play out in terms of the initial call, etc.?
The initial call went well. I was lucky enough to talk to the owner the first time I called the store. Okay. Took his cell number. He seemed interested. The feeling that I got once I paid for the service was, I'm getting done deals. That's not the case. It's leads. You're getting people that are interested. The selling part has to come from us. Yeah. So I learned that my first go around. So the second time I was prepared. It took a few more calls, setting up an interview process per se, like what do you guys offer, what is in it for me, and things like that. So we set up a meeting. I met with the owner. We sat down, and I don't know how it happened. He signed the application our first meeting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the application went through. I had John on the line. It was great to have the team support me during closing the deal. Again, it was a big account. It was $122,000 on an average every month.
Wow.
So obviously we want the customer to feel that we're able to save him as much as possible. So John again stepped in, and he brought up the good point that, we'll waive your fees, any terminal fees, and also the cash discount program fees. And it was huge for the owner. And I also ran through the exercise of how much we would save in a month, in a year, and in 5 years. And with the amount of money and the transaction and the fees he was paying, he would save at least $60,000 to $70,000 in processing fees in a year if he went with us, which is paying like his employees throughout the year, like part-time employees. So thankfully, he understood that. He understood the magnitude of savings we would allow him to bring to the table. So he signed the deal. We just got the terminal. I installed it day before yesterday. So that's great.
That's wow. So you had started off with two monster accounts. $60,000 a month account and the $120,000 a month account. That's gotta be some kind of record or something. That's just really impressive.
Yeah, and he learned pretty fast, and he called me and kind of just he didn't have a lot of questions, but he just confirmed, John, can we do this? Yes. Used me like as a second voice, to show him, hey, we got a team behind us and stuff. But he pretty much had it all covered. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. And then, he closed the deal. So he's definitely doing an awesome job.
Any other kind of thoughts from you, John, as far as kind of how that second deal was closed? And
yeah, I like what Sri said. It's not necessarily a hot lead where somebody's gonna say, hey, I've been waiting for you to call me, come in and sign me up. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lead that said, hey, I am interested, but you still have to come in and sell me. You still have to convince me that this is going to work. You still have to show me that you're a person and, build that rapport with me. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing is that I tell in my trainings is the more rapport you build, the easier the close will be. Mm-hmm. Okay. So over the years, I've been doing this for a long time, and I realized something. A lot of times I close deals and I don't even talk about the rates. I don't even talk about a lot of stuff. I'm just like, hey, Aaron, how's it going? Bam, man, your liquor store is amazing. Great. Man, did you go fishing this weekend? We're just talking. Okay, great. Aaron, I'm going to take care of everything for you. Don't even worry about it. Just sign right here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So the more rapport you build, the easier the close becomes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a key mindset shift, right? It's like, don't go into the deal, especially your first one, thinking I need to close or the money you're going to make. It's I need to build rapport, build a relationship with somebody, and the close will naturally happen as a byproduct of that.
Yes, and that goes back.
With them, that's okay, because it also got to look at it this way. Because on the back end, guess what? There's also people that are going to be pitching that same merchant after they sign up with you on the same thing. So if you have no rapport relationship with that person, the risk of that person possibly switching just for a lower rate could be kind of high, right? Whereas if you have a relationship with them, they trust you and see you as a reliable, trustworthy person. They want to stick with you because they know you're a good person. So.
Yes, yeah, and then my goes back to my motto is make a friend, make a sale. Okay, and the way I came up with that is, back when I was really doing sales and I was stuck. I was like, man, I'm not closing deals this month. Something's up. So I went back to my portfolio and I'm looking at it and I'm like, how did I close these people? Because right now I can't even think about, how did I close these people? Then I went through and I looked at them. I'm like, oh, Pedro, he's my barber. He's a nice guy. Oh, this lady, she's awesome. Oh, he's nice. And I'm like, wait a minute. All these people are my friends now. So I built a relationship with them. That's how I close them. That's why they're my clients. So I'm not going to worry about these people that are giving me a hard time. I'm going to focus on building relationships and making them my clients.
Sri, any last thoughts here? I appreciate it. Of course, thank you so much for letting us kind of walk through your process and kind of what you did to close your deals. Any last thoughts for our audience that may be a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous about going out there, maybe meeting a store owner, some of the questions or objections they might get? Any kind of helpful tips or advice on that you've been through that process?
I would say compared to a few of my friends, I'm a little bit outgoing person, so it wasn't hard for me to just go say hello, talk to them. But I have friends that are with me on this, and we've gone out ourselves to talk to owners. The difficult part is starting off, right? I would say if you pick the path of working with the merchant automation team, you're on the right path. That I know for sure, because I see the long-term benefit from this business. It's just take the step and go talk to them, say hello. Just ask them, hey, for me, when I'm doing any sales by myself, I've discovered my own way of approaching them. And what has worked for me is, hey, how are you guys doing? I talk to them, you have a small conversation and kind of bring it up. Do you guys use the cash discount program? And people tend to become curious. What is cash discount program? So that just gives me the opportunity to just explain them what the process is, how they can eliminate their fees. Being interested, not interested, is like secondary. But at least I would say I'm learning from it, right? I'm just building on my communication skills. I'm building on how I can approach people. What are they actually looking for? What are they going through? It's a learning process. Even if I close 10, 15 deals, there's a point where I still don't know what I have to do in certain situations. So it's just building to that moment. It's a learning experience, and it only comes by talking. You just have to go. You have to say hello. You have to introduce. You have to explain the program. You'll make mistakes. First deal, second deal, it's fine. You've got your team puts it in a great way. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. You're not losing out on anything if you screw up 1 or 2 deals.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Cool. And it's just practice. I'm telling people, just go out and practice. Don't even go out. Yeah, don't even go out and try to close the sale. Just go out and practice. Just talk to your neighbors. Talk to the people. Hey, what do you think about this cash discount program? And then, but don't take it bad when they give you the objections. But just figure out how to use your rebuttals to turn them around.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for your time.
Awesome.
Any last parting thoughts, or I think we could wrap up right here.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again, Shri. You're doing an amazing job. As always, I'm here. Any help you need, you can always text me, call me. I'll be on the phone ready to help you with any deals that need closed. And yeah, you're on your way, man. You're definitely on your way. Congratulations.
Thank you, John. I appreciate all the support. The team has been great. Paybotics, Merchant Automation, Roberta, Island, everybody's been great. I couldn't have asked for more support. You guys are patient. You guys don't, before I ask a question, I feel, man, this is going to irritate the other person. I never felt a bit. I never felt that a bit. The whole team is always ready to help. So
absolutely. For sure. Okay. We'll wrap up here. Thank you, guys.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.